Ransomware gangs are multiplying fast. Infrastructure is under siege. And in 2025, a single hack could bring global supply chains to a halt. While headlines celebrate economic recovery, the digital underworld is preparing its next move. Are we just one breach away from economic collapse? Welcome back to 360 Economy. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe for fast, sharp insights into the hidden forces shaping our world. Today, we're looking at a threat that doesn't come from inflation or interest rates. It's ransomware, and it's evolving faster than regulators can react, faster than markets can adjust, and faster than companies can defend. Ransomware used to mean simple encryption attacks. Now, it's about extortion, data theft, and system-wide paralysis. In 2024 alone, ransomware victims grew by 13%. But the real danger isn't in the numbers, it's in the chaos. 34% of ransomware gangs active in 2023 no longer exist. But they didn't vanish. They evolved. In fact, 41% of the gangs operating in 2024 were brand new. Some started mid-year and still managed to rack up hundreds of victims. These gangs are not random. They're strategic, efficient, and borderless, and they're targeting critical infrastructure across the globe. That means the factories, ports, hospitals, and networks our economies rely on every day. The financial toll of ransomware is staggering. In the first quarter of 2025 alone, over 2,063 victims were reported, marking a 56% year-over-year increase. The manufacturing sector remains a prime target, experiencing 230 incidents, followed closely by wholesale and retail sectors with 170 attacks. Why does this matter for the economy? Because today, everything from food to finance depends on digital infrastructure. And ransomware gangs know that the more essential the service, the more likely their target is to pay. In the first quarter of 2025, ransomware attacks surged another 18%. If the trend continues, 2025 could see a 72% spike in victims. It's not just the volume of attacks, it's who they're hitting. Gangs are learning from each other. The top 4 in 2024 all used the same tactics: phishing, software vulnerabilities, credential stuffing, and double extortion. Sectors like manufacturing, logistics, and trade are now in the crosshairs. And North America has overtaken Europe as the top target, a sign that the stakes are shifting closer to home. One gang, CLOP, took a break in 2024. This year, they're back, targeting construction, transportation, and wholesale logistics, the arteries of global trade. These aren't small hacks. These are attacks that could ripple through supply chains and economies. The rise of generative AI has introduced new vulnerabilities. Nearly half of global organizations now cite the malicious use of generative AI as their top cybersecurity concern, with over 40% experiencing successful social engineering attacks in the past year. And just weeks ago, on April 28th, we saw a vivid reminder of how vulnerable infrastructure can be. A massive blackout swept across Spain, Portugal, Andorra, and southern France, knocking out hospitals, public transport, and electronic payments. While initially blamed on substation failures, investigators are now exploring whether cyber vulnerabilities played a role. Spain alone lost 15 gigawatts of power, about 60% of its demand, in just 5 seconds. This wasn't just a power issue. It was a wake-up call. Our grids, our data, our systems, they're only as secure as their weakest point. Here's where it gets dangerous. Cyber attacks don't just freeze systems, they freeze decisions. In an interconnected global economy, one successful attack can trigger delays, price hikes, and even panic. Think about it. What happens if a ransomware gang locks down a major port like Los Angeles? Or freezes logistics at a Fortune 500 supply chain firm? Or compromises data at a central bank or credit rating agency? These aren't hypotheticals. They've already happened. And next time, the consequences could be global. The World Economic Forum now ranks cyber threats as one of the top 5 risks to global stability. And for good reason, because unlike inflation or unemployment, a single cyber event can go from invisible to catastrophic in hours. Latin America has witnessed a 108% year-over-year increase in cyber attacks, highlighting that this is a global issue transcending borders and economies. Let's take a look at the numbers that tell the full story. 2,063 ransomware victims reported in Q1 2025, a 56% year-over-year increase. 102 ransomware gangs tracked between 2023 and early 2025. Over 10,000 confirmed victims. 72% projected increase in ransomware attacks by year-end. 230 incidents in manufacturing, 170 in wholesale retail. 47% of organizations now list generative AI misuse as a top concern. 108% rise in cyber attacks in Latin America. The global economy isn't just fragile, it's exposed. As ransomware gangs adapt and coordinate, the gap between digital offense and defense is widening. We often think about economic collapse in terms of credit crises or political instability. But the next big shock might not come from Wall Street. It might come from a keyboard in a dark web forum, typed by someone you'll never see, but whose keystroke could shake global markets. A connected world brings prosperity, but it also brings exposure, and ransomware is exploiting the gap. As cyber threats escalate, organizations must prioritize cybersecurity resilience. This includes investing in robust defense mechanisms, employee training, and international collaboration to mitigate risks and safeguard the global economy. What do you think? Is ransomware the new financial risk we should be talking about more? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If you found this breakdown helpful, make sure to like and subscribe. And in our next episode, we'll look at how Estonia built a digital fortress while most of the world is still locking the front door.